So we have a new Pharaoh who doesn't know and doesn't show favor to Israel, and he teams up with the rest of the Egyptians to get rid of Israel. He's trying to depopulate them because they are numerous and they grow in number, and they are becoming a threat to the Egyptians. So Pharaoh, he devises to give Israel, to enslave Israel in the country they came in as visitors, and they were welcomed well, and they lived in liberty. And it is because of this enslavement that Israelites are forced to make bricks. They are forced to make bricks with a quarter. The bricks are supposed to make certain bricks every day. In an effort to try to diminish their population, and that does not work. Even though they make bricks for a long time, and so much forced labor and mistreatment, even so, the Israelites begin, continue to prosper. God shows them favor, even with a lot of grumbling and a lot of worshiping other gods, the gods of Egypt, even with disrespect to their God, and they continue to prosper. And Pharaoh devised another way of killing the firstborn sons of Israel. It is during this killings, trying to every child which is born of Israel is killed, because Pharaoh does not want Israel to continue increasing in numbers, and it is prophesied, that a deliverer will come, and the Pharaoh is afraid of Israel, and because of their number, and they are skewed in very many ways, and it was very hard for the even for Pharaoh's soldiers who came to take the kids to get them, because God gave favor to the Israel women, because they gave birth before they gave birth more easily than other children of other women of Egypt. So it is during this time of turmoil, this time of this Pharaoh trying to get rid of Israel, that Moses is born, and Moses is a child who is a promised child who is supposed to deliver Israel. He's a deliverer of Israel, and his mother, is afraid that this child is a special child. He's afraid that the child is going to be killed. So what happened is that Moses and his mother and the sister, they after Moses is born, they put him in a basket, and wrap him very nicely, and they knew where Pharaoh's daughter used to go and bathe in the Nile, and they try to, they put the child over there. I think it was a divine plan. They knew Pharaoh's daughter didn't have a child, and in that way, when Pharaoh's daughter goes to swim, they will see the child and maybe have pity of the child. As Miriam watched, he watched, his little brother, being washed up in the river, and then God kind of causes Pharaoh's daughter to see the child and have pity of the child, and he loved Moses, and he raised him. He says, I will raise him as my own child, and it is during this kind of excitement that Moses' sister comes in and tells Pharaoh's daughter that I know a woman who can raise a child, and God's plan are not man's plans. God's ways are not man's ways. Moses ends up being raised by his own mother in the palace, in Pharaoh's palace. God's son child will not suffer. God's son child, even if the child suffers, will God will give them grace. Moses is raised as a prince by Pharaoh's daughter. He's raised as a prince. He's raised a prince of Egypt, and his mother was very careful to teach him his Hebrew roots, and he taught him who he was, and that was very important. And he nursed him, on his breast, and he knew who he was. He knew his mother. He knew his people. And after he's grown, he refuses to be called the son of Pharaoh. He refuses to be called an Egyptian. And it is during this kind of kind of situation that he sees an Egyptian kill Israel. And Moses kills the Egyptian because he was very mad. It's still being mistreated. And he buries the Egyptian, and during this bury that he discovered, and he runs away to the desert. He flees from Egypt because he didn't want to be killed. And it is during his time in the Medium Desert that he rescued Jethro's daughters who brought cattle to come and get water and from thugs, and he ends up marrying one of the Jethro's daughters, and he gets himself two sons. And it is during this time of having Jethro's livestock that God appears to him in the form of burning bush and tells him, calls him Moses, and then God speaks to him and tells him, you have to go back to Egypt and deliver my people. Moses, is afraid. He didn't want to be used of God. He knew how to fight. He was taught in the Pharaoh's. He was raised by Pharaoh's daughter. He knew all the kind of tricks and how to fight. As a prince in Egypt, but he didn't want to go because he said it was a slow speech. He had a slow speech. But God tells him that I'm not. I am the Lord. I'm the Lord I am. And he gives him orders what to do, and he shows him what to do. He tells him who God was, because Israel needed to know who God was. I'm the great I am. I am that I am. And God commands Moses to perform miraculous signs in front of him, and tells him that is what you're going to do with his rod. And he returns with his wife and two daughters, two sons to Israel, and goes secretly to the Israel camp, and tells them that God appears to him and told him, the way he appointed him to deliver Israel, and with his brother Aaron, and he showed them all the miracles, and the Israel believed in him. And it is during this time that situations started to happen in Egypt. Pharaoh is undermined. He doesn't want to free slaves, free labor. Egypt has prospered, has built so many monumental buildings because of the hard labor and slavery of Israelites, and the Israelites have suffered a lot. They have suffered so much. They have cried to God, over 430 years of slavery, of hard labor, of death, of mistreatment, having the children being killed because Pharaoh didn't want them to increase in number. They are enslaved. It's not easy to be enslaved. It's not easy to be oppressed. They were totally oppressed in every way. And it is during their cry that God hears their cry, and that's why we see Moses in the scene now coming back to deliver his people through the power of God. He's given them a date. He's given the anointing by God to perform miraculous signs to Pharaoh so he can lead his people. And that's where the story of Exodus begins, and that's where I want my story to begin. That's where I want God to deliver me. In my oppression in America, I've been oppressed in America. I live badly, and I want God to deliver me.